The universe's greatest heroes went silent watching humans train. To anyone else, it might have looked ordinary, metal walls, observation towers, and the constant hum of engines. But today, it was about to witness something extraordinary. From the far reaches of space, beings from across the galaxy began to arrive. They were the greatest heroes known to intelligent life, ancient warriors, creatures who could bend time, and beings whose minds moved faster than light. They had conquered empires, survived battles that could destroy planets, and wielded powers that no human could imagine. And yet they had gathered here for one purpose: to watch humans train. At first, they came with skepticism. Humans were small, fragile, and unarmed compared to these cosmic champions. Many observers whispered among themselves. "This will be over quickly," one said, his voice echoing like crystal across the observation deck of his ship. "They cannot hope to match the trials." Another, whose form shifted constantly between gas, liquid, and solid, added, "It is almost cruel to watch them try. They will fail as they always have." But as the first humans stepped onto the training field, something unexpected happened. The humans moved with energy and focus. There was no glowing aura, no strange armor, no superpowers, just bodies, minds, and determination. The smallest human sprinted faster than most of the aliens expected, dodging mechanical obstacles with a grace that seemed impossible. Another lifted massive weights, not because she was genetically altered, but because she had trained tirelessly, day after day, never complaining. The observers began to notice a pattern. Each human was not only performing physically, but thinking ahead. They adapted, adjusted, and improved in ways that no machine or alien warrior could predict. A robot obstacle would fall into place, and the humans would instantly find a new path. An unexpected hazard would appear, and they would not panic. They would analyze it, find a solution, and act. One of the oldest heroes, a being made entirely of fire, leaned toward his companion, a giant insectoid with 6 eyes that could see in all directions. "Are they learning this fast?" he whispered, barely able to contain his shock. They are different," the insectoid replied slowly. "No species we have ever seen adapts like this. It is not strength alone nor speed. It is something else." The humans continued their exercises. In one corner, a group worked together to lift a heavy training gate. They failed at first, pushing and straining, but then one of them spoke calmly, giving instructions. Soon, they moved the gate with perfect coordination. The observers noted it quietly, exchanging glances that said more than words could. Coordination, teamwork, intelligence. They were all here in these fragile-looking humans. In another part of the field, a human faced a simulated enemy. It was a machine designed to react faster than any human could, armed with weapons and shields. The human circled, watched, and waited. Then, in a sudden burst of movement, he used his environment, the slope of the ground, a loose panel, and the timing of the machine's sensors, to outsmart the enemy. The observers remained silent. Not a single one spoke. Even the ones who had survived wars that destroyed planets could not hide their surprise. Time seemed to slow. The humans continued their drills for hours, running, jumping, strategizing, and learning from mistakes. Each time they fell, they got up. Each time they failed, they tried again. There was a rhythm to their actions, a flow that seemed both simple and brilliant. A human girl, no older than 17, ran past the observers' viewing window. She leaped over a simulated fire pit, rolled across the ground, and ducked under a swinging log. The observers leaned forward, their attention locked. "Her speed, her instincts," muttered one. "She is not just training, she is mastering everything she touches." Even the oldest among the human trainers watched quietly. They did not shout or interfere. Instead, they guided with gentle words, showing the trainees where they could improve without taking over. It was clear that the humans were learning, not because someone forced them, but because they wanted to. As the day went on, more humans joined the training field. Small teams formed spontaneously, and each team quickly learned to support one another. One human noticed a teammate struggling with a heavy obstacle and ran to help without being told. Another noticed a pattern in the enemy simulations and shared the information instantly. The observers had never seen anything like it. They had studied thousands of species, watched countless civilizations, and trained warriors stronger than entire armies. But this was something entirely new. The silence among the heroes grew heavier. They had come expecting to see failure, yet what they saw was mastery. not mastery of superpowers, but mastery of themselves. Discipline, courage, intelligence, and creativity, all combined in ways the universe had never seen before. A being of pure energy who had fought in battles that spanned light years shook slightly. "They are not just learning," he said. "They are evolving before our eyes, not in body, not in strength, in mind and spirit." The training session ended and the humans gathered quietly. They did not boast, they did not celebrate. They simply prepared for the next day, knowing that every challenge would be harder than the last. The observers, meanwhile, remained silent. Words failed them. How could they explain what they had seen to their peers? How could they describe humans, fragile, simple, ordinary humans, doing something extraordinary? And so, as the human trainees rested for the night, the galaxy's greatest heroes watched from above, their silence louder than any praise. For the first time in eons, they were not speaking as warriors, as legends, as beings who had conquered worlds. They were simply watching, awestruck. In that quiet moment, a truth settled in among the observers. The universe had underestimated humanity. And they would soon learn, in ways none could predict, that humans were capable of far more than anyone had ever imagined. The stars twinkled, the training facility hummed, and the first day of observation ended. Yet none of the heroes could sleep. They had seen the beginning of something extraordinary. They had seen the humans train, and they knew the silence they kept was only the calm before a storm of human greatness. The next morning, the sun rose over the human training facility like any other day. But for the humans, this day was different. Word had spread among them that the greatest heroes of the universe were watching, yet they did not allow fear or pride to interfere with their training. They moved as they always had, focused, determined, and relentless. On the observation decks above, the cosmic heroes watched in silence. They had expected the humans to hesitate, to falter when faced with challenges. Instead, they saw something that confused and amazed them. Humans thriving in adversity, testing limits that should have been impossible for their small, fragile bodies. The first trial of the day was a simulated battlefield. The humans were placed in a massive arena filled with moving obstacles, robotic enemies, and unpredictable environmental hazards. It was designed to push them to their limits, to test strategy, speed, and adaptability. A young human named Alex led his team through the simulation. His eyes scanned the arena constantly, analyzing every movement of the robotic enemies. He had no superpowers, no weapons that could destroy a machine with a single blow. All he had was his mind, his training, and his team. "Stay close," he said calmly, pointing toward a series of moving platforms. "Watch the patterns. We can make it across if we time it right." The humans moved as one. Each step, each jump, each dodge was coordinated perfectly, yet flexible enough to adjust to sudden changes. One robot lunged at them unexpectedly, but a teammate reacted instantly, pulling Alex to safety. Another human noticed a weak point in the enemy's movement and whispered a suggestion. Alex nodded and led the team in a quick maneuver that disabled the robot without causing harm. The observers were stunned. They had expected chaos. They had expected failure. Yet here were humans working together, thinking faster than any algorithm, improvising solutions in real time. One hero, a being that could manipulate gravity itself, leaned toward another. How are they thinking this fast?" he asked. "No species we have seen adapts this quickly. They're not just responding, they are predicting." "They use intuition and emotion as tools," the other replied. "It is foreign to us. We rely on logic and raw power, but they use something deeper." As the trial continued, the humans faced more challenges. The arena changed without warning, walls rose, floors shifted, and new enemies appeared. Most species in the galaxy would have panicked, frozen, or failed. But the humans adapted instantly. They analyzed each new problem, tested possible solutions, and acted. When one approach failed, they tried another without hesitation. Each failure became a lesson, each success a stepping stone. One observer, a creature with skin like liquid silver, whispered to his companion, "They learn faster than anything I have seen. They are not the strongest, not the fastest, yet they are outthinking the machines at every step." In one corner, a human named Lena faced a giant mechanical sentinel. It moved faster than she could run, its sensors almost impossible to predict. She studied its patterns for a moment, then noticed the reflection of its lasers on a nearby wall. Using the reflection, she calculated the timing perfectly, dodged its attack, and used her environment to disable it temporarily. The heroes watched silently, unable to look away. Meanwhile, smaller teams were working on communication and teamwork. One human whispered instructions to another, and their teammates adjusted instantly, moving like a single organism. The observers had never seen such coordination in any species, no matter how advanced. Even the most disciplined alien armies often relied on rigid commands, while humans moved with freedom, improvising yet remaining perfectly synchronized. Hours passed, and the trial became more complex. The humans faced a simulation of a collapsing city, filled with traps, obstacles, and multiple enemy forces. Most observers thought this would be the point of failure. They were wrong. A human named Raj led a group through the simulation, helping others escape danger, creating distractions for enemies, and improvising tools from the environment. He built a makeshift bridge from fallen debris, used smoke to hide movements, and guided teammates to safety with calm confidence. The observers were silent, but their amazement grew with every passing moment. They had faced armies, fought wars across galaxies, and yet here were humans, using nothing but courage, creativity, and teamwork, turning impossible situations into successes. One of the oldest heroes, who had seen the rise and fall of entire civilizations, shook his head. "They are beyond expectation," he admitted. "Not the strongest, not the fastest, but they are resilient, ingenious, and united, that combination we have never seen." As the day came to an end, the humans gathered together to discuss what they had learned from the trial. They did not boast, they did not show arrogance. Instead, they analyzed their mistakes, shared advice, and encouraged each other to improve. Their focus was on growth, not recognition. The heroes observed quietly, noting how humans turned every setback into a lesson. Even minor failures were celebrated as opportunities to learn, not as weaknesses. This humility, combined with their determination, created a power that no weapon, no alien ability could match. One observer, a crystalline intelligence that communicated through light patterns, spoke for the first time since the trial began. "They are remarkable, not in strength or speed, but in mind and spirit. They are evolving before us." Another, a warrior who could phase through dimensions, added, "They are training like we never imagined, not to fight for power, but to improve, to survive, to protect each other. That is extraordinary." As night fell over the training facility, the humans rested. Some meditated, some reviewed their strategies, and others simply slept, preparing for the next challenge. The heroes remained in orbit, their ships silent, their thoughts heavy. They had come expecting entertainment, expecting to see humans fail. Instead, they had seen brilliance, courage, and determination that surpassed anything in the galaxy. For the first time in eons, the universe's greatest heroes were quiet, not in defeat, not in fear, but in awe. They had witnessed something rare, not power but potential, not strength but the human spirit. And in that moment, each observer realized that humanity's true power lay not in what they were now, but in what they could become. The humans did not know the impact they had made. They trained as they always had, unaware that they were rewriting expectations across the galaxy. And the heroes, once so certain of their superiority, were left speechless, watching quietly, wondering what else these humans might accomplish in the days ahead. The trials had begun. The humans had proven they could adapt, think, and work together in ways the universe had never seen. And the heroes understood in that quiet night that this was only the beginning. Something extraordinary was rising. And it was human. The next morning, a soft glow of light spread across the training facility. Humans moved with quiet energy, stretching, running, and preparing for the day's challenges. The cosmic observers watched from above, still amazed and still silent. Every human action seemed to surprise them, and they could not predict what these small, ordinary creatures would do next. Today's trial was designed to be harder than any before. The humans were placed in an arena that simulated a destroyed city on a distant planet. Rubble blocked paths, fires burned unpredictably, and enemy drones patrolled the streets with advanced targeting systems. This trial was meant to test strategy, endurance, and courage. Many species had failed under similar conditions, overwhelmed by chaos and unpredictability. Alex and his team moved cautiously through the rubble. His eyes scanned the area as he guided his teammates, whispering directions. "Stay low, use the debris for cover, move together." The humans moved like one unit, yet each individual also acted with creativity. One teammate, a young man named Gyro, spotted a fallen beam forming a natural bridge over a chasm. Instead of waiting for orders, he signaled his teammates, and they all crossed carefully, saving valuable time. Another human, Maya, discovered a hidden path behind a collapsed wall and led a small group around enemy patrols. The observers were astonished. They had faced entire armies and advanced weapons, yet humans were using nothing but their minds, instincts, and teamwork to survive. Even the oldest hero, who had fought wars spanning centuries, leaned forward in his seat, unable to hide his fascination. "They are not just reacting," he said to his companion, a being whose body shimmered like liquid crystal. "They are seeing possibilities, predicting outcomes. I have never seen such foresight in any species. They are creative," the crystal being replied. "They do not rely on raw power but on thought and intuition. That is something we have largely lost as a race." Inside the arena, the humans encountered a massive drone. It moved unpredictably, firing beams that could disable limbs instantly. Most species would have panicked, but Alex studied its movements carefully. "Watch its pattern," he said calmly. "It has a delay after each attack. We can use that." Lena, the young girl who had amazed the observers before, sprinted forward. She used a discarded metal panel as a shield and carefully timed her movements, dodging the beams. Gyro joined her, creating a distraction that allowed the team to disable the drone using a simple but clever mechanism of pulleys and debris. The heroes in orbit held their breath. They had seen beings far stronger, far faster, and far more advanced, yet none had shown this combination of intelligence, creativity, and courage. In another part of the arena, Raj and his group faced multiple enemies at once. They were outnumbered and outgunned. Most species would have fallen into panic, but Raj's team communicated silently, anticipating each other's actions. When one human tripped over rubble, a teammate grabbed him instantly, keeping him safe. When another was cornered by a drone, Maya created a diversion, giving him a chance to escape. The observers began to understand that humans' greatest power was not strength, speed, or weapons. It was their ability to adapt, to learn from mistakes, and to work together without hesitation. Even the smallest human could make a difference, and every action mattered. One hero, a being who could manipulate time, whispered in disbelief, "They are using their minds in ways I never imagined. They are not the strongest, yet they are unstoppable in thought." A soft hum filled the observation decks as another hero, who existed outside physical space, added, "They are evolving through experience. Each mistake, each challenge makes them stronger, not physically but in their spirit and intelligence. That is the true power we have underestimated." The trial continued for hours. The humans faced more challenges, including collapsing structures, hidden traps, and waves of simulated enemies. Yet every time they encountered a problem, they solved it. They learned from failures, celebrated small successes, and encouraged each other to keep going. At one point, Alex's team faced a massive wall blocking their path. It was taller than any human could climb, but instead of giving up, they looked around. Gyro noticed a series of cables stretched across the wall, likely part of a damaged transport system. Using pulleys, ropes, and teamwork, they created a way to scale the wall safely. The observers were speechless. No brute strength had been used, no advanced technology. Only human ingenuity and cooperation. As the day ended, the humans gathered together. They did not celebrate with loud cheers or victory cries. Instead, they quietly shared observations, pointed out mistakes, and suggested improvements for the next trial. This humility, combined with their determination, impressed the observers even more. A crystalline hero who had not spoken in decades finally broke the silence. "These humans, they are not just survivors. They are thinkers, learners, and innovators. They use what they have to create what they need. That is unheard of." Another observer, a warrior who could shift through dimensions, nodded. "And they do it together. Individually, they may not be the strongest, but together, they are a force unlike anything I have ever seen." The stars above twinkled as the humans rested. Some meditated, some reviewed strategies, and some simply slept. The cosmic heroes remained in orbit, silent but alert. They had underestimated humanity for too long. They had assumed that without superpowers or advanced technology, humans would fail. But now, they knew the truth. Humans were capable of far more than anyone in the galaxy had imagined. The trial had revealed something extraordinary. Humans could not only survive in impossible conditions, but they could thrive, using intelligence, creativity, and cooperation. Their potential was limitless, and it was growing with each passing day. For the first time, the greatest heroes of the universe felt a new kind of respect, not for strength, not for weaponry, but for spirit, mind, and heart. The humans were small, ordinary, and fragile compared to them, yet their courage and ingenuity shone brighter than any star. And in that quiet night, as the humans prepared for the next trial, the cosmic heroes realized a truth that would stay with them forever. The greatest power in the universe was not in strength or weapons, but in the human mind, spirit, and the ability to rise above every challenge together. Something remarkable was growing, and it was human. The sun rose over the human training facility, spilling warm light across the complex. Today was different. The humans did not know it yet, but this trial would be the most challenging they had ever faced. The arena was designed to simulate a full-scale interstellar invasion. Massive machines, advanced drones, and unpredictable hazards filled the space, all meant to test the limits of skill, courage, and cooperation. The humans assembled quietly, focused but calm. Alex stood at the front, his eyes scanning the simulation. "Remember," he said, "we have faced difficult trials before. We can handle this if we stay together. Watch for patterns, communicate clearly, and help one another. Nothing else matters." The cosmic heroes in orbit leaned forward, silent but intensely watching. They had witnessed humans' intelligence, adaptability, and ingenuity before. But today, they wondered if humans could manage something far more complex, working as a single unit against overwhelming odds. The simulation began. Massive enemy forces swarmed the arena. Energy blasts, moving walls, and rapidly changing hazards forced the humans to react instantly. Many observers assumed this would be the point where humans faltered, where panic replaced strategy. But the humans did something unexpected. They organized. Without commands from above, teams formed naturally. One group provided distractions, drawing enemy drones away from their teammates. Another moved quickly to create safe paths, using fallen debris and environmental hazards as tools. Every action was deliberate, yet flexible enough to adapt to sudden changes. Lena led a small squad through a narrow corridor filled with spinning mechanical blades. She timed her movements perfectly, signaling to her teammates when to move. Every member followed instinctively, adjusting their timing to account for each movement. They reached the end of the corridor unscathed, a feat that left even the oldest heroes in orbit stunned. Meanwhile, Raj's team faced a massive robot that blocked a key passage. Its armor was thick, its attacks powerful, and its sensors nearly impossible to evade. Most species would have tried to destroy it head-on, failing quickly. The humans, however, used teamwork and creativity. One human noticed a weak joint in the robot's leg and whispered instructions to another. Together, they rigged a makeshift trap from fallen materials. When the robot advanced, it fell into their trap, immobilized long enough for the humans to pass safely. No one celebrated. They simply moved on, calm and focused, ready for the next challenge. The observers exchanged glances. They had seen countless battles, watched entire species fight wars with weapons of mass destruction, yet nothing compared to this. Humans were not relying on superpowers or alien technology. They were using coordination, intuition, and intelligence to achieve what seemed impossible. In the central arena, Alex's team encountered a wave of enemy drones approaching from multiple directions. Instead of panicking, they split into groups, covering each other, anticipating attacks and protecting weaker teammates. When one human tripped, another caught him instantly. When a teammate was cornered, the group moved in unison to create a path for escape. The heroes in orbit could not look away. They whispered to one another in tones of awe. "They are not just adapting, they are thinking as one," said the time-manipulating hero. "Individually, they are ordinary. Together, they are extraordinary." A crystalline being who had studied millennia of civilizations added softly, "This is beyond anything I have ever observed. Coordination, foresight, courage. They have combined these qualities in a way no other species has." As the trial continued, the arena became more chaotic. Walls collapsed, fires spread unpredictably, and drones multiplied faster than before. The humans did not falter. Every setback became a lesson. Every obstacle became an opportunity. They shared information quickly, improvised solutions, and protected each other without hesitation. At one point, A massive structure began to collapse above a group of humans. Lena shouted a warning, and the team moved in perfect harmony, lifting fallen beams to create a safe passage. Not a single life was lost. The observers were silent, but their minds raced. How could a species so small, so seemingly fragile, succeed where countless others had failed? Alex noticed a weakness in the enemy formation. "If we split their attention here, we can create a path to the control hub," he instructed. Without hesitation, the teams moved as one. Some distracted the drones, while others moved toward the hub. Each step was precise, each action coordinated with instinct and understanding. Finally, they reached the hub, a massive console controlling the simulation. Using nothing but their intelligence and teamwork, they disabled the simulation's main systems. The arena fell silent. The trial was over. The humans gathered together not to celebrate, but to analyze and learn. Each person pointed out what went well, what could be improved, and how they could work even better as a team. Their humility impressed the cosmic heroes even more. Humans did not fight for glory, they trained to grow stronger together. The heroes in orbit could no longer remain silent. One, a being whose body shimmered like liquid metal, finally spoke aloud. "They have not only survived, have dominated this trial without weapons, without superpowers. Their unity, their spirit, this is something we cannot replicate." Another hero, who existed partly in multiple dimensions at once, nodded. "Every species we have observed relies on power, technology, or fear, but humans rely on something more, something deeper. They fight with their hearts and their minds together. That is true strength." Even the oldest heroes, who had battled across centuries and galaxies, felt humbled. For the first time, they realized that true power was not in physical might or in alien abilities, but in courage, ingenuity, and cooperation. As night fell, the humans rested. Some meditated, some reviewed their strategies, and some simply slept. The cosmic heroes remained above, still observing, still silent in awe. They had expected humans to fail. They had expected to witness chaos and defeat. Instead, they had witnessed mastery, mastery of the mind, mastery of teamwork, mastery of spirit. The trial of unity had revealed something extraordinary. Humans could face impossible odds and succeed, not because they were the strongest, but because they were united. Every human mattered. Every action counted. And together, they created a force that no technology, no superpower, no alien army could match. The cosmic heroes knew, in that quiet night, that they had witnessed a turning point. Humanity was no longer just a species. They were a rising force, one that could challenge the expectations of the universe itself. And somewhere deep within the hearts of the humans, there was no arrogance, no pride, only determination. They had passed the greatest test yet, not through power or luck, but through unity, courage, and ingenuity. Something remarkable had been revealed, something that would echo across the galaxy. And it was human. The stars were bright that night, scattered across the galaxy like tiny lanterns. The human training facility glowed softly in the darkness, silent except for the quiet hum of machinery and the occasional rustle of human movement. Today's trials had ended, and the humans gathered in small groups, reflecting on the lessons they had learned. They did not know how closely they were being watched. The greatest heroes of the universe, the ancient warriors, the beings of light and energy, the ones who could bend time and space, remained in orbit. They had arrived expecting entertainment, expecting humans to falter, but they had found themselves silent, almost frozen in awe. The humans, small and fragile compared to these cosmic beings, had faced the impossible. They had confronted machines designed to overwhelm, environments crafted to destroy, and challenges that no species in the galaxy could survive with ease. Yet they had adapted. They had innovated. They had relied on intelligence, courage, and unity, proving something no technology or superpower could match: the strength of the human spirit. Alex looked around at his team. Lena, Raj, Gyro, and the others were tired, their bodies sore, their minds exhausted, but their eyes shone with quiet determination. "We did it," Alex said softly. "Not because we are the strongest, but because we stayed together, because we never gave up. And tomorrow, we'll do even better." The other humans nodded. No one boasted, no one claimed victory. They understood that their journey was ongoing, that every trial was a step toward growth, and that strength came from learning, from teamwork, and from heart. Above them, the cosmic heroes were still silent. The energy being who had watched centuries of wars shook its glowing form slowly, trying to comprehend what it had seen. "I have fought battles that tore worlds apart," it murmured to a crystalline companion. "I have wielded powers that could destroy entire fleets in an instant. And yet, these humans, without any of it, have taught me something I never expected. Courage, intelligence, unity, that is power." The crystalline being pulsed softly. "Yes. They fight with their minds, their hearts, and their spirit. They have turned weakness into strength. They are remarkable." In the human camp, the trainers gathered the young trainees around a central console to review the day's exercises. "Notice what worked," said one trainer gently. "Notice what didn't. Learn from both. Every mistake is a step forward. Every success is a reason to keep going." The humans absorbed these lessons eagerly, discussing strategies, sharing observations, and helping one another understand their mistakes. Their humility impressed the cosmic heroes even more. The humans did not fight for fame or glory. They did not seek admiration. They simply trained to become better together. One hero who could exist simultaneously in multiple dimensions finally spoke aloud, his voice echoing across the observation deck. "We have underestimated them," he said. "We thought humans were fragile, insignificant. We thought they would fail, and yet they have done what we never imagined. They are thinkers, creators, and survivors. Their potential is limitless." Another hero, a warrior whose body could shift like liquid, nodded. "And they fight as one. Every individual matters. Every action counts. That is something no army, no species, no force can replicate. That is true strength." The stars shimmered as the humans returned to their quarters. Some meditated, some reviewed their strategies, and some simply rested, unaware of the effect they had on the universe's greatest heroes. They had trained as they always did, focusing on growth, improvement, and the bonds they shared. But for the cosmic observers, silence had replaced words. They had expected noise, drama, and failure, but they had found mastery, humility, and courage beyond comprehension. And in that quiet moment, they realized a truth that would stay with them forever. Humans were not ordinary. They were extraordinary. As the night deepened, Alex stepped outside to gaze at the stars. He did not know who was watching, but he felt a quiet connection to the vastness of space. "One day," he thought, "we'll face challenges even bigger than these. One day we might face real danger, but we are ready. Together, nothing can stop us." The cosmic heroes looked on. Some moved in ways they could not explain. Some felt awe, others felt inspiration, and some simply felt the quiet satisfaction of witnessing something they had never thought possible. The humans had not only survived, they had excelled, grown, and reminded even the oldest beings in the galaxy of a simple truth. Determination, courage, and unity could overcome almost anything. A being of fire who had fought in wars spanning centuries finally spoke. "We have learned from them," it said quietly. "Not about technology or power or strategy, but about spirit. The human spirit is stronger than we imagined, perhaps stronger than any force in the universe." Another hero, whose eyes could see across time itself, nodded slowly. "We have witnessed something rare, something that may never occur again in our lifetimes, and yet it is only the beginning. They have potential beyond measure. We must watch, we must learn, and perhaps we must follow their example in some ways." Meanwhile, the humans prepared for the next day of training, unaware of the cosmic judgment they had passed. They had become stronger, smarter, and more united than before. Each person had grown, not only in skill but in confidence, trust, and understanding. They had faced trials meant to challenge them beyond their limits, and they had risen to meet them together. The cosmic heroes remained above, silent and awestruck. They had come expecting to see ordinary humans falter, yet they had seen something far greater. They had seen hope, courage, and determination made flesh. They had seen humans turn obstacles into opportunities, failure into growth, and weakness into strength. And in that silence, the universe's greatest heroes understood a truth that would stay with them forever. Humans were a force unlike any other, not because of weapons, powers, or alien skill, but because they could face the impossible with courage, ingenuity, and unity. The stars above twinkled, the facility hummed softly, and the humans slept peacefully, unaware of the awe they had inspired. The cosmic heroes departed slowly, their minds and hearts forever changed. For the first time, the galaxy had witnessed that true greatness did not always come from strength alone. Sometimes it came from spirit, from perseverance, from working together in the face of impossible odds. And somewhere in the quiet of space, a truth echoed silently across the stars. If the universe ever needed champions, humans would rise, not because they were the strongest, but because they never gave up, even when everything said they should. The universe's greatest heroes had gone silent, but that silence spoke louder than any words. It spoke of respect, of awe, of a new understanding. And it was all because of humans. Something extraordinary had been seen, something eternal had been recognized. And the story of humanity's spirit, courage, and unity would echo across the stars for generations to come. The humans continued to train, unaware of the cosmic reverence they had inspired. And in that quiet, unassuming way, they became more than a species. They became a symbol of hope, courage, and the limitless power of determination. The galaxy would never forget.